From this moment on, you will now be known as Sharkbait.
Sharkbait! Ooh-ha-ha!
Welcome, brother Sharkbait.
Sharkbait! Ooh-ha-ha!
Enough with the Sharkbait.
Sharkbait! Ooh!
Hi YouTube family, this isn't really a big deal, just a little update on one of my older projects. Those of you that have been following me for a while may remember the old Nano tank from one of my older videos with my pair of peculiar clowns. Well, as we had some snow about here in Brooklyn, I just realized that I found my old baby out there in my backyard storage little area, and I had to rescue it because one part of me, every little project that you do over years has a lot of thought and memory to it. So I just thought I'd bring it inside, clean it up, and give you a little recap of how I had built this tank quite a few years ago. So let's take a look. Well, first and foremost, let's start with the glass. I've never been one that was really keen on cutting my own glass, but you or me and everybody else, we usually have a glass resource very close to us, and I found that just cutting these, 6 pieces of glass was like $20, not even, because they were so small. So I got my local guy to cut the glass for me. Cost me $20. A little silicone. I got here some marine safe silicone. As you can know, I'm pretty generous with the silicone, top, bottom, and sides, and the job was done. And rather than try to cut it myself, cut it uneven, these guys not only cut it, but they also sand and gave you nice safe edges so you ain't have to worry about cutting your fingers while you're working with it. So that was step one, just getting the glass. These little things you can get from Home Depot. I had an extra one from another aquarium lid. These just stick on. So I just took the two-faced tape, stuck it on here, and I had a little handle here, which isn't really used most of the time, but I thought it was cool. It gave me a little handle for, if I wanted to take the lid off and not worry about dropping it or cutting my hands. But usually I wouldn't have any lid whatsoever. So the glass, there you go. 5-6 pieces of glass, $20, and you had a Nano. So that's step one. Okay, step two. This is a Nano. Even though it's only about 2 gallons, every Nano or aquarium needs some sort of filtration. This was a project of mine in preparation for building a larger tank, which I really haven't done now, but I watched all these great guys like Joey, King of DIY, and all these other guys where they build their little tanks. Well, Joey builds humongous tanks, and I listened and took a lot of consideration into his designs, and this is what I came up with in the ways of trickle filtration. You take your piece of acrylic, also cut at the same glass supplier. He also supplies acrylic, so how about that? He cut me this fine piece of acrylic. All I had to do is I took a tray. I put a tray in the oven in my house with some aluminum foil on it. I put that straight piece of acrylic in the oven on the tray for about, I have to say it was about a little under a minute, maybe 40 seconds, something like that. And with some very, very thick gloves, I took it out and wrapped it around a piece of plywood until I got this nice little bend in it. Look how nice that bend is. All that was a piece of plywood. I bent it and allowed it to cool, which it cools very quickly. You can run it underwater, but I just let it cool very quickly. I bent it around a piece of 4x4, and if any of you know my basement, I always keep spare blocks and wood and things like this. If you look at it, it was just wrapped around a piece like this till I got that nice little shape in it, and that was it. So after that being the case, I took my Dremel tool and cut these little holes in the top just so that the water would go in and not the fish. And personally, if I had to do it again, you could even do it a little narrower. Back then was the first time I've been using a Dremel. I kind of got a little crazy. I put holes for my return pumps there. I put one in the front. I put one on the other side. I don't know what I was thinking there. But anyway, it was very easy. And once again, once I bent it into the shape that I wanted, you could have went end to end. I didn't want to do that because I thought it, cut down on a little of the aesthetic so it doesn't take up the whole back. Goes in there and added some more silicone. I glued the bead in place. I took a bead of silicone, put it in there, both sides, and then just put the acrylic piece in place, let it dry for a day and a half. Blam. Instant overflow So if you look at the top of this, you'll see that all I took was foam, aquarium filter foam, which comes in a long sheet, and I cut it to fit. So these baffles aren't actually permanently in place, but this was once again a piece of scrap plastic. I took my drill and my Dremel. I got a little crazy. There's a little crack in it, but it's no big deal. And I just one by one drilled these little holes in it, cut the edges, and set them up. So I got 3 chambers in here. I have the carbon, carbon there. I have my little bio balls down there, which also I have a little Via Aqua pump in there. It's not in there now because this was sitting outside, but a little Via Aqua pump that would go in there in the middle of the bio balls. The water trickles down. The only reason this second piece of filter material is in there is because I had it relatively high just in case, to make sure no shrimp or snails or anything got in there, because a few times they did get in there. So I got this idea which kept them from sitting in there. I just pushed it down here for the sake of film, but usually it's up sort of like just about like that, just to give the water a flow. And boom, 3-chamber filtration. Doesn't get any easier. Once again, you can buy these things pre-made. I like to try myself, create little projects, see what I can do on my own. And actually you learn a lot about aquariums when you see what goes into making them and what customization you can do to make it what you want it to be. So blam, 3-stage filtration. Part 2 is done, my friend. Okay, with that being the 2 core pieces of the project, basically the tank is small. Most of your filtration is done by water changes. When you got a 2-gallon tank, it is no work to keep 5 gallons of water on the side. You change about 1 liter to 2 liters every week. You can go much as 1 gallon, but I found out that changing that much kind of threw the chemistry off and really set it into swing. So I just have a measuring cup, a regular measuring cup that I got from my local store here. I take out about 2 to 3 cups full in a measuring cup and put 2 to 3 cups full back in, and boom, instant water change. No need for a protein skimmer. You got biological filtration and circulation there. Your water changes are quick and easy, and that's your basic chemistry of the tank. So that brings me to the last and final part, my LED. If you guys see my planted tank or LED versus videos, I tested out the LEDs. I never built that real confidence in the LEDs for like growing corals in this little tank, but it did keep my fish and things alive. And as you can see, it's very bright. I do have a backlight in here, and just to give you a shot of these LEDs, they are very bright. I think there's about 40 of them, if I'm correct. It has 3 banks of actinic blues. The rest are I believe the rest are 10,000 K bulbs. It has a switch, you can set it on a timer. Those are just with the actinic. You can see it's very blue. And let me turn the room light off. This light is very bright. Very bright. I mean, it lights up the entire, this little area is lit up, and it looks nice at night. So even though I'm not using it for fish right now, it is one hell of a night light. Lights up the whole area, my little man cave here. And that's just with the actinic blues. If you turn both of them on, it gives you a really brilliant, clean white light. So that is the Nano project, everybody. It's just little things that you can do on your own. Once you get the confidence set up to do it, you build it on a small scale, you build it up, you make it what you want. And you guys probably never saw, I had done another one that I just did for myself. I was going to give it to a friend, but I never got to give it to him. This one is very hard to see, but that one, I built the lid, I built a base for it, and everything else. You can see it's planted, has an oak lid. This is mainly based for like either reptiles or betas. I was going to put betas in it. I built a lid with like a hinge system. There's no hinge. I just used grommets and baffles to make it, give it that little hinge ability. It has a light in there. It's wood, just the beauty of Nano systems. So maybe you can give it a shot. See what you can do on your own, play around, learn a little. Nothing teaches you better than making mistakes, and when they're small, they're easily, shrugged off. So I thought you'd get a little kick out of seeing one of my old projects, seeing how it's a snowy day here in New York, and I had nothing to do, so I thought I'd keep you guys up to date. So thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel. Check out D from Brooklyn Aquatics on Facebook. I'd love to hear from you guys. I want to check out your channels. If you have any updates, send me a message. I'll check you out. We like each other. We hook each other up. And this is D from Brooklyn, keeping my sanity, keeping my tanks. Take care, everybody. Be safe.